Oh, what's going on, guys? It's finished. Southampton 1, Tottenham 1 in what was a very frustrating result at St Mary's. Southampton playing over 45 minutes with 10 men and the whole of the second half, but Tottenham just couldn't force it home. And ultimately, we got to say we've only got ourselves to blame. Playing against 10 men, we just didn't create enough opportunities in that second half.
Yeah, I just wonder, is that bad tactics or is that emphasizing the lack in squad depth in certain positions? Because he's kind of done this one, he hasn't brought on Lucas early enough to get his legs in the game and actually have some sort of kind of attacking prowess, then he's brought on Gill and he's put on Doherty on the left, Gill on the right.
That didn't make too much sense to me.
That didn't make any sense to me, and it's this kind of shows you we really need some new players coming into the squad. How can you go for 45 minutes with 10 against 10 players and not get anything out of that game? I mean, sure, we got majorly screwed on two decisions, but that's still poor from us.
Yeah, because considering the first half, we weren't at our best really. Southampton took the lead and deservedly so, and Spurs were not playing very well. But we get the stroke of luck just before half time. We get the man sent off and we get a penalty back in the game. You're thinking, okay, this is our game now. We have to go to the second half and just go for the jugular. And I felt like in that second half we tried. Look, let's not lie. It's not we didn't try to score. We did. We just didn't have, the creativity to unlock that Southampton defence. Maybe it needed an Ndombele to come in and really pick the lock, because it was too easy for Southampton to defend against us for most of the game. Yeah. And also, I would say Doherty came on at half time. And look, I actually don't think he did badly, but I just think he did the best he could. Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, every time he got the ball, he had to cut inside. He had to waste opportunities.
Waste time.
He actually got into some good positions, but because he's a right-footed player who's not that comfortable playing on the left, he couldn't make the most of them. And I thought actually it was a bit of clever play. Bring on Gil, and I thought he was going to put him on the left, put Doxy on the right, get them both in natural positions, and then have them both on the overlap, so that they could be in crossing positions when we got the three central forward players like Lucas, Son and Kane there. But he kept Doherty on the left and he kept Gil on the right.
I had no idea.
And that made no sense. And not only did it not make sense, but neither of them looked particularly comfortable in those positions.
Yeah, so I'm not going to argue with Conte, but he got that wrong, and I think he did that because of just not trusting players in certain positions.
But what if he's going to put Gil right wing back? He might as well put him left wing back.
Yeah, I don't get that, because you have right-footed partnerships between Davies and Gil, so they can overlap each other. You know what I mean? So that you can, and Gil's style is to beat a player to the byline. That's his whole style. He's known for that. Mm-hmm. He tried to do it on the right. He wants to do that. If you're a defender and you've got a clear left-footed player, because every single touch is on his left foot, he's going to cut in. So then every time he tried to do that, they covered it.
Yeah, and I think that change on the pitch probably hampered us a bit, because it felt like when it went out to the wings, we weren't able to get any good quality into the box or create any good opportunities from that aspect. And that was why maybe on that aspect we struggled. But, we played a lot of balls into the box. It was very easy for Bednarek and whoever to just clear them away. Yeah. We did have a few opportunities. Doherty had one which forced a save. Gil had one right at the end. Mm-hmm. We did create a few openings which weren't, which kind of with a bit more quality, you see it go over the line. But unfortunately, for Forster didn't have to make any serious saves, did he?
No, and the thing that really showed in that second half is that we really still lack creative class, world-class players with a bit of an idea. I thought when Lucas came on, he was going to get the ball and run at them. And then that will cause a little bit of instability in their kind of deep block that they got. But no one did. No one was going to take the opportunity. So all you're doing is just pass the ball from side to side, and they just have to they make their wall, and you're never going to penetrate that wall unless you have wing backs who are going to beat them to the line and put it back, because then the 6-yard box is going to be a chaotic place. So I just thought I for me think he's got to see that he got that wrong, because both Doc and Gil had chances to score, and
if they were on the other side,
they didn't. they didn't have the advantage because they were on the wrong foot. So why are they there?
Yeah, there was about 3 or 4 opportunities that Gil and Doherty both had where they could have taken it first time if they were on their strong foot. But they kept having to cut back.
Yeah.
And once you cut back, the chance was gone. Right at the end there, if that was Doherty, I'm not saying he would have scored, but I'm saying he could have got a better opportunity, he had more space to shoot than Gil cutting back on his left. And same when Son slips in Doherty, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And if that was Gil on that left side, he could have
foot,
left foot into the net. And yeah, because it was Doherty, he had to go with his right, and the chance was gone.
Even at that point where if Gil's in, because he has a left foot, he can still kind of touch it back towards Son as well. He doesn't have to go for goal.
Yeah.
The only thing that Doc can do is try touch with the outside of his right foot, which is just, it makes it so much difficult. It's easier to read.
But look, it wasn't totally negative today. Look, that second half performance was ultimately frustrating. I don't think. Look, people will probably come on the fan show and whatever, or talk after this game about how bad we were and shows we need quality. And a lot of it will probably be right, but I don't think we were terrible. We did create openings. We did
I think that
we definitely did.
Southampton were good. Southampton were strong, and when they went, this is that thing you were saying about like when you go a man down, actually like focuses you in. It's like right, we are, the team's down, so we got to work together. We got to stay glued. We all got in the midfield. You make a line, don't let it break. And they did that. They did that expertly well. And when you have a team that does that, normally lower parts of the division, if you have teams that do that, then you need world-class play. You need like kind of City style of play to kind of do little, touch in and out and like draw them into you, But you got to give them credit. They played that half expertly well.
Yeah, but there were a few moments, with a tiny bit more quality. There were good openings. Like right at the end there, we had a Kane header. Son had that chance when Winks clips it in. Like there were openings.
We weren't.
We just didn't.
Enough.
Yeah, we didn't we didn't get them on target or force Forster into a save, and that ultimately is frustrating. In terms of good things, though. Harry Winks, I thought, had a probably
Harry
man of the
Winks
match
was really
performance.
good. Yeah, I thought he was probably one of our best players. I thought Kane was super lively in the first half. Second half, it was a little bit different. Although that touch, the ball over the touch and finish,
The goal,
that
yeah,
looked like
brilliant.
prime Kane. That one touch, that is world class. Ball over the top, soft feet to take the power off the ball, bang, finish right into the corner. So heartbreaking that goal wasn't allowed. Because we kind of deserved that, but
as we say, Harry Winks, I thought, was spraying some really brilliant passes, and he was the only. It was like I felt like he was the only one in the
He looked like he could do anything.
Yeah, who looked like if it wasn't him playing the pass through, like everyone else seemed a bit like either didn't have the quality or just weren't able, or couldn't see the passes that he was able to.
Yeah, and the thing was when you change, say your identity is two bulldozing midfielders and then a creative player in front of them, right? That kind of seems like the kind of thing that sort of works for us. That we look comfortable anyway as a team. We look like when we start games with that formation, we look so strong. And we didn't have that in the first half. We weren't really winning the ball. We weren't pressing, and so they were getting on the ball, and then every part of that's just draining your confidence. You're like, 20 minutes. They're still having little bits of the ball. They didn't have loads of chances, but they had the ball, and they were able to dominate the midfield. Ward-Prowse was able to get on the ball and make things happen, and so that's where I think like what he was saying about the DNA of the team. If that's how you're going to play, if we don't have a world-class midfielder that can play anywhere, then that's what's going to happen. You're actually going to lose the initiative, and then when you've lost the initiative and you've only really got the initiative back because they've lost a player, they can still get the initiative by just all going and defending and not trying to win the game, and that's what they've done. And so it's a mix and match of us not really having maybe the right starting lineup and not having the initiative in the game, not having any real on the right side, no real attacking emphasis, and then that's what's happened. If I think. Absolutely, for sure. If Lucas starts that game, I think we win that game easy.
But let's talk about the VAR decision in the second half, which obviously we went 2-1 up. And, it wasn't a VAR decision, actually. It was the referee ruled out the goal for a foul on Forster, but upon replays, there clearly was no foul. There clearly was no foul, and it goes in the back of the net. It would have been an own goal against Forster, actually, because it goes back off his heel.
Yeah.
How does VAR not look at that? I don't understand that the referee has said he thinks he's seen a foul. Yeah. VAR clearly shows there has been no foul on Forster. He doesn't even collect the ball.
Yeah.
Like, all he has been slightly challenged with Doherty, but he's not been fouled by any stretch of imagination.
Yeah.
How VAR doesn't tell the ref, look, there's no foul here. You should probably look at that.
Anything that it needs, anything that's like controversial or contestable, if all the players are coming around, it's like in cricket where you go like to the, you know, or any other sport, you can go to the kind of the action replay, and in tennis you can have 3 goes at looking at the action replay. Like there maybe should be something like where your captain, you only have 3 goes, your captain can kind of say like, no, you know, you're not going to use them all too quickly, but your captain can ask for it. But because for something like that, I don't understand why VAR is in this game if it's not going to look at things like that, because that is a bad decision. Or even if it's not a bad decision, if you can't argue that, it's still contestable. It's like hard to see, so you need action replay to see it. So then you've got to go to VAR. How can the ref make that decision? I don't understand that. You know, it's too hard to see. From one, if you're behind the ball, yeah, it looks like he's going in, and it looks like he's dropped the ball. Another angle, he's not even got the ball in his hand.
It slips right through. He slips right through his hands. I
understand that.
So I can understand if the keeper comes and collects the ball and then is barged into by Doherty, and because of that, he loses. He obviously loses the ball. That's not what happened. He went to claim it. He was challenged by Doherty. He wasn't barged. It kind of just slips through his hands and it goes into the back of the net. It was a horrendous error, and he is being completely saved from the referee, and VAR doesn't even think to tell the... And not only did VAR not look at it, they played on immediately. It was like they didn't even like give it a thought that they should look at it, because it was a clear foul, non-foul.
Adam D in the chat's there saying that Clattenburg said that VAR was never going to look at it.
Why?
Yeah, I don't get
There wasn't
that.
a foul though. It just clearly wasn't a foul. So that's the most frustrating thing from that. And I can understand, like, I think because
Are you not supposed to go anywhere near goalkeeper now? Is that what we're saying? Like, don't go anywhere near
No, but
goalkeeper?
the thing is, Clattenburg did say that, but he also said that it wasn't a foul. So he's kind of saying that the referee, because the VAR's role is not to re-referee the games, and if apparently how it works is, because there's a high bar in the Premier League, how it works is, if the referee can accurately describe what happened to the VAR official, they won't tell him to look at it again. So it's basically for it's basically for anything that the referee has missed. So if the referee says something and the VAR looks and says, "Oh, that's not actually what happened," then they tell him to look over it. But if the referee says something and the VAR looks at it and says, "Okay, that it did happen, but it's subjective whether that was a foul or not," they won't tell the referee to look at it again.
I think for the credibility of VAR and referees, when anything is like questionable in any way, even if he lets the game go on and like, yeah, have a look at it, you know, and the game can go on, then it's like, actually should have a look at it. Okay, stop the game. You know what I mean? You don't have to stop the game for everything. Let them have a look at it, you know. Let the game go on. You can have 2, 3, you know, just sense. Use sense. That's the thing that does my head in.
And sometimes in games like this, when teams are camped in their own half and you have to break them down, sometimes that's what it takes, is like a bit of luck like that to break them down.
That's a game-defining moment. We've lost the game. We've lost points
because we would have won that. That's a win. Yeah, that's 3 points that VAR's cost us because that one moment. And to be fair, it's one. And just quickly mention it, 1 point that was gained right at the end because Dyer nearly cost the point for us right at the end. And if it wasn't for Sanchez, again, just like he did at the end of the last game, we get a point.
Yeah,
at the end of the Liverpool game. Sorry.
And that's the thing, you know, like, you don't want to knock too much on Dyer because he's been really solid, but you also don't want to ignore glaring holes and mistakes in his game.
Because he gave a goal away, didn't he, against who was the last game we played?
West Ham.
He gave a goal away.
Yeah, it was
and then and today, I actually didn't think he played badly, but right at the end, nearly gives us a loss.
Yeah, he didn't play badly, but he didn't get put under pressure like a top 6 team would do, you know. So I think mistakes was a big part of his game last season, and they start to happen more and more and more and more until eventually it was like, oh my god, this guy can't play for us. And so he's been solid like he was at the start of last season, and now again, here comes the mistakes again. So we actually go into the game thinking, like someone was joking about it, like in the chat, like you know, a little break's we're gonna get caught on a break and we're gonna lose this.
Yeah, we nearly happened.
And that's because we kind of think like that, because we know that our defenders have mistakes in them, specifically Dyer.
All right, so it did finish 1-1 in the end. Do you think today, from what you saw on the pitch, was it a step backwards in terms of the progress we're making, or do you think it's just one of those results?
I think it was. You know why? Because I think it reframes everything that we're thinking in terms of looking at, oh, we've got games in hand. Oh, these are easy, winnable games. Now you look at those games in hand and go, are they?
Yeah.
Because this was a winnable game. We should have won this by loads of goals. And now you're going, nah. Like Burnley, That's what I'm saying. When you're on a run, you're like, who you know, like,
It'll take on all comers.
yeah, who are we afraid to play? And then you see us play like that, and you're like, you know, any bigger team today, we got hammered. You know, we just didn't have enough in the middle of the park. We didn't have, you know, like, and it's that thing of it's a game straight after a game, fair enough, and there is fatigue. We were lackluster, but it's like, this is where it's like we don't have the squad to compete in this league. This is why every time he gets a chance to say it, he says, yeah, we're doing well, but we are not good enough to compete for top 4 yet. And that's what he's talking about, is like, because play a couple of games back to back and it goes out the window. You know, and that's the thing that's completely reframed how we're going to look at the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, first half was really bad, and we only were so dominant in the second half because of the 10 men. And you got to say, when you're not forcing the opposition keeper into that many saves, and you draw the game, it's not enough for where we want what we need in this kind of game. And I think we did create opportunities. I don't think it was as maybe lackluster as maybe some people will make out, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough whatsoever to win the game and to confidently win the game. And despite some bad VAR calls, you look at that second half and you think Southampton, they had to play well to get the draw, but we shouldn't have given them a chance. We should have made sure that we got over the line, and unfortunately we weren't able to do that. And that definitely, it will be a big blow when it comes to in that top 4 race. You know, we're now that was a game where we could have, that was a game and had essentially on Arsenal because they're not playing today, and we only got the draw, so we're still 5 points behind with 2 games to hand, which is doable, but all of a sudden it doesn't look as good as it could have. So it's a big blow, but I'm hoping to put it down, just chalk it down to one of those games where you just get a draw as opposed to getting the win. But, you know, under Conte now, that's 4 wins, 3 draws, 7 after 7 games. Looks okay, but when, you know, away from home, we've only played 2 and we've drawn 2. We haven't won yet. So we need to get that off. We need to get that first win away from home. Hopefully it'll be New Year's. But it was a damaging draw, and it was a shame that you know, second half against 10 men, that didn't seem like they had 10 men.
Yeah. No,
that was it.
Yeah, we just... like when Lucas came on, he wasn't Lucas, you know, he wasn't, you know, and that's the whole thing of like, sometimes when, again, like he didn't drop him, he kind of gave him a rest, but sometimes when a player's on killer form, you just give him 45 minutes. I'd rather that Lucas played 45 minutes there, and then you can bring on Ndombele or Dele. But I think Dele was so bad in that half. I think that midfield of it shouldn't even be tried again. With I'd absolutely play Winks, rotate Winks, Skip and Højbjerg all day long, but don't put Dele back on. I'm just at this point. I'm so tired of it. Like, he comes back, he has one good, semi-good performance because he has loads of chances he should score. And
he screwed up on a few big chances.
So I just think it's time for him to move on. I know he's not. He has an English player, and we kind of want to get foreign players out rather than English. But I think you got to take the hit and just get him out.
And then just quickly, a couple of super chats says, anyone who thought Sanchez is, sort of from Crocodile says, anyone who thought Sanchez has been any sort of quality needs to give an apology. He was woeful on the ball, and so is Højbjerg.
I didn't think Sanchez was that bad today.
I think that was harsh, yeah.
I think that is harsh. I don't think Sanchez or Højbjerg were that bad. But what they weren't is they weren't class. And that's the thing. Spurs have a decent team now, and they're a decent team getting good results a lot of the time with a world-class manager. You need a good manager getting amazing results with a world-class team, and that's what we don't have. You know, that's what we've got to go for in January. We've got to make this a world-class team.
And then Espen Anderson says, feels like Conte got his first lineup wrong by not playing Lucas or Bergwijn,
100%.
also not giving Ndombele a shot in the last few minutes. It was very odd Bergwijn wasn't in the squad. I can only assume it was an injury because he's playing well, so I can't assume he would be left out for any other reason.
Bring Bergwijn on as a wing-back.
Yeah, could have done something like that. I don't know where he was.
Because you've got the centre back, so you just need wingers at that point. We're pressing; they're just wingers. They're not wing backs.
Yeah,
bring on wingers.
And then knowing Ndombele for the last few minutes, I think we'd already made 3 subs. But you know, should he have brought him on instead of maybe Gil or something like that? Do you think, or? It was a tough one.
It's a strange one because Gil didn't do anything wrong. He just didn't have. When you're chasing a game, a tough away game with a team who's just basically fighting for survival, they're just going to sit. You need class. You need, we just don't have that class. Tanguy, yeah, but, he probably would have been my bet, you know, to come on because he can do it in a moment. But then he's also proven in big moments that he just hasn't got anything. So maybe the game would have been too hard for someone like Tanguy.
But on a brighter note, Conte has become the first ever Spurs manager to go his first 7 games unbeaten.
Congrats, but I mean,
congrats.
still feels like a loss.
It does feel like a loss considering they're down to 10 men. And Fraser Forster, at the end, they did make 10 saves, but how many of them were actually saves where he shouldn't have expected to make?
I mean, he wasn't great today. He made saves, but they were straight to him, you know.
All right. Well, look, we're going to have the fan show coming up very, very shortly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another watch along. Thank you, Brains, again for joining me for another watch along. Unfortunately, we didn't get the result today.
It's not my fault, guys.
We tried our best. But look, we got Watford coming up next on New Year's Day, so we'll be back in the studio for that one. See you very shortly for the post-match fan show. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.